A gentleman by the name of Randy Harper just texted and said, Tanath poops diamonds as a dragon. Is he?
Yeah, it is something I can do.
That's
And this
awesome.
is another reason why we don't value material goods, is because we can make it if we need it.
How many ETs are on Earth, and who are the gray people actually? And are more actually? I guess it's a three-part question. And are more of the ETs on Earth good or bad? So three questions.
Okay.
How many?
So there's three questions that I can't answer them all.
Okay.
In part because I don't have that information. I don't know the exact number of how many ETs are on this planet. There's an estimate that it's anywhere from a couple thousand to up to about 10 million. I don't know how accurate that is. We don't have the information. And keep in mind, it's not like there's a number of different groups that are involved, and all of them have different goals out of this, and some of them have very different agendas. So they're not going to be sharing data with us about how many people they have down here, because we might seek to remove them because they might be here to cause problems for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that feeds into the last question.
Are there more good people here than bad?
But we don't have,
right.
We don't have an accurate count of who's here, and there's no who's who. There's no telephone directory that you can look up to find out who's alien and who isn't. Let alone which ones are, and I don't like to use the term good or bad, because some people may have very negative intentions for humanity, but may not be truly evil in themselves, just selfish and greedy. Whereas other people who may have positive intentions for humanity may also still be selfish and greedy. So, it all depends on which way the cookie crumbles. But, there are a number of groups that are all working here, and some of whom are opposed to each other. And again, they're not advertising their numbers because they don't want to tip it off to their enemies.
Right.
Or sometimes other.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how many good guys or bad guys there are. As for the Greys, I'm assuming they mean the Grey aliens. There's a number of different rumors going around as to how they came about. What I know from speaking with the Galactic Federation is that they were the original population, basically bombed their planet to the point where it was not able to sustain life on the surface and had to go underground and suffered a great deal of genetic degradation, which brought them to the point where they are now. Now, there are a number of different groups and subspecies of Grey. Somewhere along the way, they either sold out or were enslaved by others, and there's a lot of Greys who are sort of like a subject race or even an enslaved race that have been modified even further for the purposes of whatever their masters is. And it's some of them are owned by reptilians, and others are owned by other groups, and still others are renegade and doing it for their own purposes. So it's really hard to say. There's not one group that's involved there, so even generalizing the Greys is difficult. And there's several different subspecies. That Grey form that when everybody thinks of the stereotypical alien with the huge teardrop-shaped head, tiny chin, and great big eyes. Some of them are Grey, some of them are light blue or brown, or some are even black. They come in different colors. They come in different sizes. Some are maybe up to your knees, while others tower over you. So it's quite the gamut, and it's, without knowing the history of any particular group or individual, it's hard to say who's who or what's what. I usually take them by their actions. In a lot of cases, most Greys are conducting, at the least, it's selfish actions with absolutely no regard for the sanctity of whatever being they're utilizing. At the worst, it's downright malicious.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And
try to avoid the Greys.
Gotcha.
And how far away are your planets? And does Earth like, does the government know about you guys, or are they kind of blind to it? Like, or do they really know about you?
Of course they know us.
I think by now there are a lot of governments that know we exist. This is a very loaded subject, and it's a very large subject, and it's one that I urge people to do their own research on. And I suspect this is one that will get me disconnected if I talk too much about it. So, start doing your research. Always keep an open mind, but at the same time keep a critical mind when you're going through this information.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of vested interest in keeping this information hidden.
Yeah.
And if it can't be kept hidden, trying to muddy the waters to the point where people just can't decide what's going on because there's too much conflicting information, and all of it seems at least potentially valid. So wade that minefield at your own discretion and with your own discernment. Yes, governments are aware we exist. I don't know whether they're necessarily aware that the Silver Legion exists per se, but they are aware that extraterrestrials exist. They've kept this information secret for their own purposes.
So, how far away are your actual planets? So, like, are they in this universe, or are they a whole different another universe, or?
Well, the Silver Legion has one planet. That planet is Harmony. And Harmony is in the Tau Ceti B system, I think. It's either Tau Ceti A or Tau Ceti B. Those systems are approximately 11 light years away from Earth.
Wow.
Which means if you were to travel the speed of light, it would take you 11 years to get there.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's amazing, actually.
That's awesome. That's so
and is that how long it took you to get here, then?
That's one of our closest neighbors, by the way.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Alpha Centauri is our closest neighbor, and Alpha Centauri is 4 light years away.
Wow.
There are ways to circumvent the speed of light.
Gotcha.
Some of them involve basically making wormholes or cheaty shortcuts through space and time. Basically, trying to tell a location that it is the same as another location, and then just taking one step and you're there.
Interesting. Wow. That's amazing.
But there are many, many, many ways in which to get by that pesky little light speed barrier. And some of them are known to people on this planet, but they're not being shared.
Is Area 51, and I'm assuming you know what that is, it's in Las Vegas, or okay, working with alien species right now, or have they ever?
Right now, I can't speak about it. I don't know what the current situation is with that location that is commonly referred to as Area 51. But that was traditionally where they took any captured tech or beings.
My question is the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds the same as the Galactic Federation of Planets?
I only know the Galactic Federation of Planets as either the Federation, the Galactic Federation, or the Galactic Federation of Planets. I haven't heard them called free worlds. Remember that federations are a fairly common way of organizing politically. So there are multiple galaxies that have federations, and there's multiple federations in this galaxy.
Yeah, how do you see the Archons and the Vatican playing into our situation and the control over the planet right now?
Well, that would depend on what you mean by Archons. If you mean the little non-physical things that try to control people,
like non-physical.
They're losing hold, but they're not going down easily or quickly. If you mean the hybrids and the human beings who have been involved in the, I guess you could say, the secret
are they still in power?
There is a lot of change right now. We're really in a deep fog of war situation where it's hard to say who's who and what's what. My people assure me that things are proceeding. They can't give a timeline, though.
Have you heard of basically a galactic organization that is basically synthetic and it's not aligned with the organic universe? And how do they play a role in controlling humanity, and how are they an influence? Because I know that there's different types of beings with different beliefs. Some believe that there's only one God and everyone's a part of that one God, and then there's other people that think that we're all intimate. So I was just wondering what's your stance on like the synthetic universe and the God entity that is unfolded?
I do know that there was an attempt. All universes are holographic in nature. Now, I'm going to qualify that by saying that does not mean that they are fake. Holograph is the nature of reality. We associate holographs with technology, but it's not necessary to have technology. You can have natural holographs, and universes are generally examples of natural holographs. But yes, there does seem to be a situation where it looks like somebody is attempting to produce an artificial competing holograph and attempting to lure people into that. Yeah, I don't have a lot of information about that. I don't know if that's necessarily something that that my people are dealing with. You know, there's a lot of different groups and teams that are involved. That might be somebody else's job. But yeah, I do know about that theory, and I do know that that was attempted. From what I understand, is that it's not going to be an issue. Yeah, part of the game is convincing people that you've already won, or that that is a thing, so that people start acting like it, and they're tricked into going into it on their own. Those might be two different groups. You don't need to be brought anywhere to go into the synthetic universe. It's a matter of basically turning towards the wrong reality, which you don't need to have technology to do. The Ascension Chamber thing, basically what that is the Ascension Chamber is a ploy by beings that want to take over you and complete the enslavement process. These are miniaturized, personalized soul prisons, essentially. You do not need technology in any circumstance to ascend. And that's one of the reasons why we stopped backing anything that involved removing people without their full knowledge and consent from the planet, or with only minimal information about what's going on. We don't think that it's a good idea for large groups of people to be removed from the surface, unless there's been pre-existing relationships that allow for this, until after humanity is free and fully able to make, and people are fully able to make those choices and decisions in knowledge without being tricked. We no longer support anything that could be even remotely raising the risk to that.
The sun are stargates, and do you know what he wants to talk about regarding that?
Well, yes, the sun is a stargate. All stars are stargates. That's part of what they are. Basically what that is like when you have the right frequencies of energy, you can use stars to travel from one solar system to another. You have to have, for this, you need to either be a species that isn't going to burn to a horrible crisp, or you need to have technology that is resistant to the actual effects of flying into a sun and into a stargate. So, heavy shields at the very least. But you also have to have a drive that's capable of, telling a star via energy where it is you want to go.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
And suns and stars, they're also alive. And, some of them will, you can convince them, hey, don't let these guys in because they're not nice. And our sun is actually helping protect this system from invaders. If you're coming in to this system, you had better be on his good list.
Gotcha.
You're going to succeed.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I mean, that's very interesting.
That's very cool.
Well, we did get it.
Yeah, he does. He gives a lot of life, and he does look out for us. He's a pretty friendly guy, this sun.
That's very cool.
Most suns are male. Most planets are female, and most suns are male. Although you get some systems where it's reversed.